Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist. I'm your worship associate, Jim O'Neill, and it's a joy to be with you today. For those new to our community, let me introduce us as a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. And ours is a faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. Please look to your weekly email for announcements, and we also have two announcements from the pulpit today. Kathy Larimer.
Good morning. So today is the kickoff of the stewardship drive. We'll have lunch after service, and everyone's invited. It's in the fellowship hall. Anyone can pledge to CCUU. Pledges make up most of our income, and it's nice to have a pledge because it makes it easier to make up a budget. With our pre-pledge amount, we now have $16,380. Okay. So this is the first in this month's series of why I support community church. Simply put, it is because I have found my people, and that means you. When I was attending the Catholic Church I was raised in, I disagreed with the stance on the pill. That bothered me to be in conflict with that. And I was also bothered that priests couldn't marry. I started searching for a church where I felt I fit. When I discovered Unitarian Universalism with no creed and a responsible search for truth, I was in. I love that our church can evolve with the times. I love that we care about people and that we do something about it. I love that we have a democratic process to make decisions. I feel lifted and challenged by the sermons. This community means a lot to me, and that's why I give to this church that is my spiritual home and more.
Thank you, Kathy. We also have an announcement from Deborah Salvador, our board president.
Good morning. Well, I'm up here again. Same thing as the last 2 weeks, but we're getting close now. We're only 11 days away, so we need to be committed soon to the Together New Orleans Citywide Assembly. And you should have received one of these flyers as you walked in today. On this flyer is a QR code that you can scan to register to participate in this assembly. As I said, this is where we're going to meet with the mayoral and the city council candidates and present the platform that we have developed over the last 18 months, telling them about what are the issues that are important to us and how we'd like to see them addressing those issues. We've been doing a lot of work on the ground lately. I attended a meeting this week with the District A candidates to talk to them about this so they have a heads up, knowing they're not going to be surprised when they get there on September 18th. We have discussed what these issues are that we are going to be presenting and talking to them about. This is different than going to a forum where the candidates tell us what they're going to do. we're going to be telling them what we would like to see them do, and also tell them about how we're going to keep them accountable once they are elected. So please register. If you don't want to use the QR code, you'd rather register the old-fashioned way, as they say now, I guess. I hate to say that, but it's like back in the day, as my son would say, this is the way you did it, writing your name and address and such. If you do that, then please drop this card, the bottom of the card, the white part, in the offering basket when it comes around later. And Kathy Larimer who you already just heard, is going to be our contact person on that. You also need to put, if you need a ride, that's also in Do You Need a Ride? We will be doing carpooling from here on Thursday, September 18th. The event starts at 6:30. We need to be here at 5:30 if you would like a ride from here to the event. So we'll make it easy for you to go, and that's probably the better way to go anyway, because parking's probably going to be crazy at Xavier with all the people they're expecting. We're trying to get 2,000 people there. So anyway, and we need to be in that. And final thing is that I was told by someone from First Unitarian, we have pledged 20 people, and I have been told by the people at First Unitarian that they want to outdo us and have 21 people. So, I mean, I'm a very competitive person, so that just is like, okay, guys, get with it. So I'm challenged us to beat First Unitarian with 22. Thank you.
We're also delighted to welcome today the NOLA Solidarity Choir. They what powerful, beautiful voices. Thank you for being with us today. We also welcome back to our pulpit today, Alicia Cooke. As you know, Alicia is a high school social studies teacher and has a varied background in healthcare policy, community organizing, and climate justice advocacy. She's been a member of CCUU since 2013. She is a worship associate, and she shares our pulpit as she does today. We welcome her again.
Good morning. Our opening words this morning come from Leslie Takahashi. To worship means to consider that which has worth. And today we consider, with gratitude, the many gifts of this community. The opportunity to be affirmed in who we are and to offer that affirmation to others. The chance to stand up together to help remake the world in the ideal of justice. And the aspiration to consider all life as precious. For if all of it is made of stardust, how can it not be wondrous? So this morning, let's welcome all these gifts with gratitude, for they have been paid for with many currencies. The sweat of those who persisted in justice's name against hostility and adversity, the dollars and cents of those who gave what they could, the infinite small acts of service that make the parts greater than the whole, done by those who knew themselves in sympathy with our purposes. So today, we consider with gratitude and humility what it means to pay forward what has been paid forward to us. And now, with all of this, let us enter into worship with gladness in our hearts.
It is our ritual to light a chalice, invoking hope and eternal truth to our worship. Please join us in singing the words of chalice lighting. We light this flame. They are printed in your order of service. Affirm the light of truth and the warmth of love and community and the fire of hope and commitment. And now Cynthia Ramirez will give us our time for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. So I was asked by Alicia to do a book on giving. So I will, but it's also, the students are doing being and belonging. And today we're going to be talking about water and the water ceremony. But this book also deals with this black snake. And Alicia fought this black snake and was arrested for it. So what gift that Alicia gives us, will make me cry. It's her passion and dedication to the natural resources of this land. Sorry. I mean, she sacrificed her physical body for this purpose. So I told myself I was going to do it, but okay. So now, would we do that is my question to her. So that's the gift that she has given us to check ourselves and what we believe in. So this book, and this always reminds me of Alicia. We Are the Water Protectors. Written by Carol Lindstrom and illustrated by Makala Good. Water is first medicine, Nokomis told me. This is a little girl and her grandmother. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body as it nurtures us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums, and we are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land, spoil the water, poison plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. When my people first spoke of the black snake, they foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Now the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. If y'all are wondering. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together to stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. We stand with our songs and our drums, and we are still here. It is not that easy. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, the winged ones, the crawling ones, the four-legged and two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, and lakes, the earth. We are all related. Tears like waterfalls stream down, tracks down my face, tracks down my people's faces. Water has its own spirit, Nokomis told me. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors. We come before us, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums and are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. The end. So if y'all can sing with me, the children out for RE. Thank you.
Right. So now is the audience participation portion of our service. We're doing a lot of talking and reflecting on gifts today. And so I want to invite you all to reflect and also share with us what are some of the best gifts that you have ever gotten. And this could be a physical gift. This could be an act of service. It could be anything that you think in your mind, like that stands out as being a great gift. Jim's going to come around with the mic. And I will tell you now, the best gift you can give us is if you keep it short so we can get through whoever wants to be able to speak. So please raise your hand if you want to share with us a gift that you have gotten.
I guess the most recent gift, which I was going to hand in a variant on a card for being thankful, is having students come up to me and say, "Hey, I've decided to change my major because of you."
The best gift I've gotten is music.
When I was in 6th grade, there was a boy who had a crush on me, and he bought me a jar of pickles for Valentine's Day to win my affection, because that was my desert island food. And, you know, it's silly, but I still remember that now.
Some of you have heard this. We talked about our Katrina stories, but after the hurricane, and I went up to Nashville, and I had to bring my daughter to Atlanta, and all this took place over a couple of weeks, and I needed a haircut, and went into like a Supercuts or something, and chatted with the guy, and he like insisted on giving me the haircut as a gift. I was so touched. I mean, I was really like brought to tears, and my daughter as well. So that was a wonderful gift. Interestingly, I was thinking about it, and my daughter texted me like, "Do you remember when?" And so it made an impression on both of us.
I have a similar story, but I have last couple years had to be in the doctor's a lot, and I had a particularly bad day. It came down, and I was going to get a cup of coffee, and I don't know how or why the girl behind the counter said, "Let me buy that for you," and I just started bawling. It was the sweetest thing that I needed, and she was my angel that day.
My granddaughter, Amelia, is here. She's in RE right now. And while we were in the cry room, she made this gift for me. She loves to give gifts, and she loves to make pictures and give gifts, and it makes me very happy.
I have two gifts that I think of first off, and one of them is the love of my partner, long term, be 23 years in December. And my other gift is my health. I'm grateful to be alive and well. Thank you.
Real quick. The other day, just real recent, a stranger came up to me. We were working and she was just giving hugs out to try to balance out the world's energy. It was so awesome and a really good hug. You know, when you give really good hugs, it made us all like totally tear up and it was wonderful.
I'll never forget the first time that Annabelle, my daughter, who's 7, I think she was like 3 at the time, went in the backyard and picked flowers and brought them to me because that was just the sweetest thing. Made my day.
One of the greatest gifts of my life was my dearly departed wife, Vera, who I had the joy of being with for 48 years.
All right. Thank you so much, friends, for your reflections of gratitude.
Now is our sacred time of joys and sorrows. If you're online, you may write your joys and sorrows in the comments section to be read aloud. In person, you can write them on one of the cards being passed out by Will.
Before we sing this next song, I just wanted to say that this song is written by Kenzie. She's here in the pink dress, and she wrote this, and it was awesome. Thank you.
By
From Brad, a joy. I am thankful for the start of the new year and full of new learning, empowerment, and future possibilities. Joy from Liz Trotter. Proud to share that my daughter Cindy was just approved by the City Council of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, to be the newest board member of their Human Rights Committee. From Robert, a sadness. I am saddened by the constant support of my government for the genocide in Palestine. Joys. Playing with my nephews, staying in touch with all my friends, walking with my girlfriend's dog with her. Sorrows, federal cuts to science, friends and myself being scared of the future. A joy from Michelle. Sally and her new knee are doing amazingly well. And from Alan, dang, I was pretty sure I had the right lotto numbers so that we wouldn't have to have this pledge drive. I think it's fixed. We will now observe a moment of silence as we light 2 more candles. One for the joy still bubbling up, too new to share. And then one for the sorrows that we cannot yet put into words. Know that we hold you in our hearts.
Our reading this morning comes from The Service Berry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. How long has it been since you drank wild water? It feels like a gift to me. The life of that water became my life and my joy in its presence. Gift thinking means that in gratitude for the drink, I'll clean the leaves from the bottom of the pool and take care not to muddy the edges. I care for the gift so it can keep on giving. But if I mistreated that spring, maybe by damming up water that belongs to itself and selling it off, the consequences would be an emotional breach as well as the ruination of the water quality. I'd feel as dirty as the water. It's a gut punch to even imagine someone claiming to own it. But that moral sense does not constrain an economy that views water as a commodity, property to be bought and sold. It seems absurd to me that someone could own water, a free gift that falls like the proverbial manna from heaven. Could you sell manna without spiritual jeopardy? I don't think so. How we think ripples out to how we behave. If we view these berries or that spring as an object, as property, it can be exploited as a commodity in a market economy. When something moves from the status of gift to the status of commodity, we can become detached from mutual responsibility. We know the consequences of that detachment. Why then have we permitted the dominance of economic systems that commoditize everything? That create scarcity instead of abundance, that promote accumulation rather than sharing. We've surrendered our values to an economic system that actively harms what we love. Our metrics of economic value, like GDP, count only monetary value in the marketplace, of that which can be bought and sold. There's no room in these equations for the economic value of clean air and carbon sequestration, and the ineffable riches of a forest filled with birdsong. Where's the value of a butterfly whose species has prospered for millennia and lives nowhere else on the planet? There's no formula complex enough to hold the birthplace of stories. It pains me to know that an old-growth forest is worth far more as lumber than as the lungs of the earth. And yet I am harnessed to this economy in ways large and small, yoked to pervasive extraction. I'm wondering how we fix that. And I'm not alone. The first gift that I can remember crying over, I received when I was in the Peace Corps in Niger. I had a small plot of farmland, which I had been tilling, hoping to prove to my neighbors and to myself that just like them, I had the grit and the fortitude to labor for hours in 110-degree heat in order to produce something useful. Unfortunately, after several days, my hands were a mess of blisters. I had a couple Band-Aids and scraps of fabric to wrap around my hands, but I lived in the middle of nowhere. There was no local Home Depot I could simply stop by to pick up what I needed. Then one day I hiked into the closest market town, stopped by the post office, and discovered that I had a package. And a package from anyone in the Peace Corps is an amazing gift. And this one was from a friend of my mother's, a woman named Virginia, who I didn't even know that well. And out of all the items she possibly could have sent me, I could hardly believe my eyes when I opened the box and found a pair of gardening gloves. I had never told my parents or Virginia or really anyone how much I was struggling with my hands in that garden. And on the card she had written, "I just thought these might come in handy sometime." And I cried. And in the next few weeks, I harvested my okra and sesame and peanuts with stronger hands. And then I had something real and useful that I could share with my neighbors. There have been other gifts that have also stood out. There was my first Barbie doll, which came on the heels of me haranguing a local rec center Santa about why he had not bought it for me yet. And there was the student last year who wrote me a 16-page, hand-illustrated graphic novel about her quest to understand the geographical concept of the midnight sun, which was a truly fascinating testament to how her autistic mind works. On the giving end, I once brought a gift of local pickled okra and quail's eggs and fresh picked berries to a friend's house in West Virginia, and I was surprised to see how quickly the gift was put into use. I'm used to gifts being saved, maybe for a special occasion, but instead we brought the jars to her parents' house, and by the end of that evening, they were empty. And throughout the conversation, or throughout the meal, the gifts inspired conversations about the best types of eggs we've eaten and memories of vegetable gardens and more. The whole evening turned out to be a lovely gift. In our extractive world, of course, there is a version of gift giving that is materialistic and transactional and unsatisfying. Think about Black Friday, or the pressure to spend a certain amount of money. Think the expectations and dynamics within certain families to top last year's gift, or the eternal question of what to get for someone who has everything and thus needs nothing. There is a stressful and careless way to engage in gift giving. But as your words just a few moments ago demonstrate, the right gift doesn't need to be this way. The right gift is a thing of beauty and joy. It need not be something physical. We can give our time, our support, or our advice. My friend Laura, for example, gives me the gift of book recommendations. And in this sense, she's responsible for 2 of my sermons, including this one, which I am in turn very humbly presenting as a gift to you. In particular, Laura introduced me to the work of Indigenous botanist Robin Wall Kimmerer, author of Braiding Sweetgrass, which I've spoken about before in this space. And in her newest work, The Serviceberry, Kimmerer shares her view of gift exchange as the fundamental basis for life on earth, as all life begins and is sustained with gifts from the earth. All we eat, all we breathe, all we move through is based upon gifts freely given from Mother Earth. Water, air, and soil sustain us. Her central example is that of the serviceberry, a plant that provides valuable sustenance to wildlife and to people, and a gift born from other gifts. And by the way, Sean has also given us the gift of a serviceberry right here, which I just think is amazing. About the serviceberry, she writes, "The berries represent hundreds of gift exchanges that led up to my blue-stained fingers, the maples who gave their leaves to the soil, the countless invertebrates and microbes who exchanged nutrients and energy to build the humus in which a serviceberry seed could take root, the cedar waxwing who dropped the seed, the sun, the rain, the early spring flies who pollinated the flowers, the farmer who wielded the shovel to tenderly settle the seedlings. They are all parts of the gift exchange by which everyone gets what they need." How much more meaningful everything around us becomes if we can greet it as a gift. The awareness of a beautiful thing freely given cannot help but instill us with a sense of gratitude. So next, let us ask, how do we accept a gift? Well, first, as our parents doubtlessly told us from the age that we could talk, you say thank you. We might do this by fully taking in the gift and turning it over in our hands, appreciating it with intention and mindfulness. We don't ask why we didn't get more or get something different. We appreciate it for what it is, something given in love, often something we didn't have before. As Kimmerer writes from her perspective as an Anishinaabe tribal member, our oldest teaching stories remind us that failure to show gratitude dishonors the gift and brings serious consequences. If you dishonor the beavers by taking too many, they will leave. If you waste the corn, you'll go hungry. So first, there's gratitude. And next, in accepting the gift, we must also commit ourselves to the gentle art of reciprocity. This doesn't need to be literal or strictly transactional. There's nothing that you can or should purchase at Walmart or on Amazon Prime Day that will adequately thank the bees for pollinating the flowers. Kimmerer writes, when I speak about reciprocity as a relationship, let me be clear. I don't mean a bilateral relationship in which an obligation is incurred and can then be discharged with a reciprocal payment. I mean keeping the gift in motion in a way that is open and diffuse, so that the gift does not accumulate and stagnate, but keeps moving like the gift of berries through the ecosystem. So in my yard, there's some unknown creature who must have been really happy when a few months ago, at some point I don't even remember, I must have tossed an overripe tomato into the compost pit. That's the only explanation I can think of for why 3 tomato plants have taken it upon themselves to grow in a corner of the yard where I never planted them. I've made the most gorgeous tomato plants or tomato pies with these surprise gifts. And I now till the soil more carefully around the new plants, improving their environment in gratitude for their unexpected presence. And the few tomatoes with gentle nibbles on them I didn't harvest. I left them in place for other creatures who have clearly found them as delicious as I have. I hope that we will all, me and the plants and the unknown creatures, be in our symbiotic relationship for some time. Kimmerer asks us what it would mean for us to place this type of gift economy from the natural world at the center of all things, in lieu of the stark transactional nature of the capitalist system that currently contains us. There are ways to pay the gift forward beyond just the natural realm. You might, for example, go to the grocery store and recognize the gift or the produce that you see. In particular, knowing the exploitative immigrant labor used to pick it and the risks those laborers run just by showing up to work, especially in this national climate. You might pay forward the gratitude by volunteering with or donating to an organization which benefits those migrants, and not merely advocating for them to return to those punishing jobs either, by the way, but also to be fairly compensated for their labor under better conditions. You might even attend a plant sale at your local church and be moved by the time and effort that its members put into nurturing these living things so that they will flourish in your home. Or you attend a concert and you're moved by the beauty of the music and its message. And that might in turn move you to commit yourself just a little deeper to that church community, be it through your service on a committee or a financial pledge to help keep its ministry alive. Repaying a gift comes in as many forms as the gift itself. You can give your time, your money, your expertise, or whatever abounds within you. For Kimmerer, the key difference between our current global economy and a gift economy is the role of scarcity versus abundance. Most definitions of economics center around the idea of scarcity, so how we make decisions when our resources are limited. On its face, this makes sense. All of us only have a certain amount of time and energy to give, and we shouldn't use resources indiscriminately or without foresight. However, as wealth inequality deepens around the world, these dynamics of scarcity start to feel very much beside the point. Almost a quarter of global wealth is held by just 31 individuals. In a world where Jeff Bezos could spend $1 million a day for the next 600 years and still be richer than you and I will ever be, It's beyond time to question the narrative that there simply is not enough to go around. In a gift economy, says Kimmerer, it is abundance rather than scarcity which defines the system. We first focus not on how much we can take, but what we have to give. The mindful exchange of gifts, where no one takes more than they actually need, and no one hoards what others could use, ensures sustainability. Because the exchange is ongoing and diffuse, the world isn't divided into winners and losers or debtors and creditors. What benefits one is not a loss to the other, but simply a way of moving the gift forward through the economy. To be clear, abundance is not synonymous with infinite resources. Embracing a gift-giving economy necessitates a certain assumption, namely that we live on a finite planet, which is more concrete and true than the economic system that we've imposed upon it. It's almost out of fashion, passé, to talk about our relationship with the earth and with her gifts as being the primal thing, but it is the primal thing. It is the only thing. Everything, absolutely everything comes down to how we share her resources and who we allow to partake in her resources. Unfortunately, in our current global economic system, we have done our best to erase the natural world from our calculations. We've allowed corporations like Nestle to sell public goods like water back to us in plastic bottles fashioned from fossil fuels. We mobilize large and expensive supply chains to ensure that Americans can eat whatever products they want to eat when they want to eat them, without regard to the resources involved in getting them to us. We sell off public lands to private entities, allowing them to cut us off from the earth's resources while turning a profit from them themselves. We've replaced biodiversity with more lucrative monocultural crops. And our leading metric for a successful system is capital, rather than sustainability. We are artificially rationing, commodifying, and dishonoring the freely given gifts of this earth. And if we continue this way, it will kill us. Lately, I have found myself looking for new economies. Here's the thing. We live under the government of the richest country ever to exist on earth. The billionaires and corporations which have purchased that government have no interest in sharing that abundance with us. It is time to start looking for ways to opt out to the extent that we can. We will have more success recognizing abundance and exercising gift giving in our neighborhoods, mutual aid societies, workplaces, and other community spaces, including, of course, our churches. I've been regularly attending the online services of the Freedom Church of the Poor, which was an outgrowth of the Poor People's Campaign. They have guest speakers every week. And a few weeks ago, they had Minister Katrina Zeza, who's a community minister in Beacon, New York. She spoke about one of her projects, which is a community space that began as a place for spiritual conversation and has since grown to include art, community organizing, and a partnership with a soup kitchen, all organized around the principles of mutual aid. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of mutual aid, it's not quite the same as a charity. A charity typically involves a one-directional flow of resources from those who have money and power to those who do not have money and power, and in doing so often reinforces those harmful hierarchical structures that it says it wants to destroy. And from my own experience, they also involve a lot of paperwork. In contrast, mutual aid springs from a place of collective abundance, that all people have power and skills and resources which can be shared to benefit the community. People both give and receive. In a soup kitchen, for example, this might mean that some grow vegetables, others show up to cook, others serve, others clean. In short, everyone brings a gift and no one leaves empty-handed. So Minister Zeza reflects on this work, and then she says, the world we need to create already exists in pockets, and the Spirit connects us. The world we need to create already exists in pockets, and the Spirit connects us. And I don't imagine I'll forget her words for some time. These messages of hope feel rare these days, and yet her words just seem so demonstrably true. We live against a system that often makes us feel forgotten, but we do not have to be owned by it. We can choose what gets our attention and who receives our gifts of abundance and nurture that which nurtures us. So think about New Orleans after a hurricane. Watch the canoes up and down the street checking on neighbors. Watch the residents with the power source setting up charging stations and the mutual aid societies distributing water and the community lighthouses providing respite, including in this very building. By all logic, a natural disaster should not provide a demonstration ground for great abundance, but somehow it is everywhere. After all, a disaster strips everything down to its essentials. It becomes easy to see what you have and don't have and what you need and don't really need. And the value of sharing any abundance you have with your neighbor is self-evident. You're sending a gift through your community to be put into immediate use, knowing that if fortunes turn, your gift will return to you in the form that you need. That is the ethos of the gift economy. If you consume all the berries, there are no seeds left to be planted. By the same token, if we hoard resources for ourselves instead of circulating them through our communities, everything around us stagnates. People, communities, systems starve for lack of resources. And when our time of need comes, there's nothing left that can be given back to us. But if you take only what you need and tend carefully to the rest, your harvest grows. People who have been cared for, just like the berries, grow strong and abundant. As Kimmerer puts it, all flourishing is mutual. It's a radical reimagining of what a sustainable economy that works for all could look like. This isn't an easy or an overnight thing. But as Kimmerer and Minister Zeza in New York point out, the seeds are there already. They are there in pockets, in communities, in willing people who already honor the gifts of our world and pass them on. The author Arundhati Roy writes, our strategy should not only be to confront empire, but to lay siege to it, to deprive it of oxygen, to shame it, to mock it, with our art, our music, our literature, our stubbornness, our joy, our brilliance, our sheer relentlessness, and our ability to tell our own stories. Stories that are different from the ones we're being brainwashed to believe. The corporate revolution will collapse if we refuse to buy what they are selling. Their ideas, their version of history, their wars, their weapons, their notion of inevitability. In a way, the invitation to participate in the gift economy is an invitation to tell your own story about this world. Your story can redefine the plot. You can set your story on a planet, not an economic system. You can choose new heroes, not ones who maximize shareholder value, but ones who teach and care and create art and sing and till the earth and make sure everyone gets enough to eat. And at last, you can write the moral at the end of the new story, that all flourishing is mutual. The gifts we give others are bestowed back upon ourselves. The system is healthiest when the gifts circulate within it. The Arundhati Roy quote that I just shared also finishes with this. Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. So listen for it. There are gifts in this world for the taking, and there are gifts within you for the giving. Something better will be built. We have already started. Amen, and blessed be.
Now is your opportunity to participate in the gift economy of community church. You bring of your gifts and your resources and you give to this community, and this community gifts you with its love and care and concern, and there's enough abundance in this community that it reaches out to our larger community. You can give online by text or in person this morning. See the information on the back of your order of service for online giving. And you're invited to join in the offertory song, which is on the insert in your order of service, Social Fabric Blanket.
So this song was written by committee, like line by line. All the lines that you read were written by like different people in the choir, like how to be like, and just like spitting it out. What's up that? Just like that, and he wrote it all down and it turned into the song. And like, all written by committee. So here we go. When I'm tired and hungry and I'm down on my knees, it is you that I count on to watch over me. When we feel we are falling apart at the seams, we remember what's right from human strength. We are the social fabric of everything. We leave the warm blanket that our must be. Exploitation on me, my lungs must eat. It is breaking and tearing apart all my seas. So we break the image so that we cannot see. It's the greed that prevents us from being honest. We live the things that are the rain and we read. We find the green pillars of everything. We turn on each other as we never get free. One nation of love, we are all family. We're fighting food and shelter, and we are free. We are lifting up God.
Our benediction is also from the serviceberry. These are the guidelines of the honorable harvest from Kimmerer's tradition. She says they're not usually written down, but she gave it a try. Know the ways of the ones who take care of you so that you can take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for a life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first one. Never take the last. Take only what you need. Take only that which is given. Never take more than half. Leave some for others. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Use it respectfully. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what you have been given. Give a gift in reciprocity for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain the earth. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever.
Will you join now in our closing hymn, State Smashing Dreams, found on the insert?
It's supposed to be stewardship dreams.
It's supposed to be stewardship dreams. Okay. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Yes, stewardship dreams.
Okay, so it's Laverne and Shirley theme song. You guys remember Laverne and Shirley? Okay, sure, yeah.
Please join in extinguishing the chalice found on your order of service. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again. And please join us now for the wonderful banquet prepared that your generosity has provided.